From Fox News, Trump admin guts White House Correspondents Association in bid to end monopoly of D.C. journalists. The White House Correspondents Association has determined access to the White House for decades. Eugene Daniels, who is the Politico chief playbook correspondent and the WHCA president, has issued a statement. I'm going to read it, but it's so cringe. He says, this move tears the independence of a free press in the United States. It suggests the government will choose the journalists who cover the president. In a free country, leaders must not be able to choose their own press corps. For generations, the working journalists elected to lead the White House Correspondents Association board have consistently expanded the WHCA's membership and its pool, blah, blah, blah. Since its founding in 1914, don't care, blah, blah. To be clear, the White House did not give the WHCA board a heads up or have any discussion about today's announcements, but the WHCA will never stop advocating for comprehensive access, blah, blah, don't care. These are elitist, credentialist individuals who keep out anybody who doesn't toe their political line. It is a corrupt institution that should be disbanded in disgrace. And the Trump administration did the right thing by saying anyone can apply now. Yeah. And they're making excuses by saying, so the government chooses? Well, yeah, the president doesn't need to give you the space in front of him to hear what he has to say. He chooses. This all got started because the AP thought they had the right to be in the Oval Office whenever they wanted. Think about how insane this is. Trump says, we're going to be doing this. We're going to be signing this executive order. Why don't we invite the press in to watch? Not you, AP. And they said, well, you have to because we're entitled to be in there. Sued. And a judge blocked it, not on the grounds that they're not entitled. The judge blocked it because they couldn't demonstrate harm. And they said the information coming out is available to everybody. You get out of here. What's crazy to me is that there's actually an argument that these people are making and judges may entertain that Trump is obligated to have the press staring in his face 100% of the time. That's insanity. So the AP said we should be allowed to be in your office when we decide, not you. So Trump says, okay, WHCA, you're gone. Now we're going to decide when people can come in and we invite them in as it should be.
Well, and there's limited space, right? The Oval Office only holds a certain number of people. On Air Force One, there's only 13 seats for reporters. And I read the brief that the White House submitted in response to the AP's suit that they gave to the judge. And in that brief, they laid out very clearly that the AP has not actually been harmed in any way because they still have access to all the pool reporting. That's the videos, the questions, the audio, photographs, anything else. And if you go to their website and you look at their stories since they've been banned from the Oval Office and the other locations, they still have the same exact kind of reporting that they did before. They still have the videos. They still have everything. And I thought it was pretty interesting that Caroline Leavitt today said in the White House that they would open up that seat to other journalists. Like, could you imagine, like, Timcast has a seat in the Oval Office or on Air Force One getting to travel around. What? Like that?
Well, you're not going to dead name the Gulf of America. We know that for sure.
I wouldn't do that.
No.
I was calling it Gulf of America before it was cool.
Right?
But, you know, you have to, you really think about it. It's like there's only one condition. They can get their creds back tomorrow. All they have to do is just stop publishing fake news of whatever the Gulf of Mexico is. I don't even know what that is anymore.
It is funny
just
that
say
he was
Gulf
like,
of America. You'll get in. That's it. You get your creds back.
Carolyn Leavitt is like, the Secretary of the Interior has updated records to display this as the Gulf of America, and you've decided you will not report that. And AP's like, yeah. And they're like, and then we can choose not to invite you in because these are private events. And they were like, we'll sue you. It is just, okay, I'm going to pause. Democrats, can I sue the next Democrat administration because they won't let me in the Oval Office?
Yeah, what makes them better than you?
I'm a reporter.
Right.
We got a big show. We got a big show. Some say the biggest. And I'm going to sue the next time a Democrat's in office because they have to let me in. Those are their rules, right? And then I'm going to sit there just staring at the president with my mouth hanging open.
I know that under the Biden administration, when the post-millennial tried to just get questions answered, not even get into the White House, which we also tried to get press passes and nobody would ever get back to us. But I know that they wouldn't even answer questions. They'd answer questions like 2-3 weeks later, and it would be like, oh, you have to talk to somebody else. It's totally useless.
I mean, you probably.
And now we've had, like, one of our reporters got in for a press briefing, and it was no problem. We have a hard pass. You know, that's cool. They're just much more receptive and open.
I mean, you probably know this as, you know, somebody that works in journal. I don't know how long you've been in the industry, but, you know, Post Millennial is a great publication, pretty big publication.
Hey, thanks.
But the Biden regime was revoking hard passes from people. If they didn't like your question, they would revoke your hard pass to the press briefing room.
Well, or if they just didn't like your outlet, they raked OAN over the coals. They were like, you're not legitimate. They were really cruel to conservative news outlets and calling them illegitimate just because those outlets weren't, towing the party line.
Did the AP condemn that?
No, the AP didn't say anything.
No,
As a matter of fact, I was just looking at that when Tim brought up the Eugene Daniels and the press secretary for, or one of Josh Hawley's assistants said, or assistant press secretary, I'm not sure. She said, can someone re-up the statement from the WHCA when Biden's press team was pre-screening press questions? I can't seem to find it.
And who was this? Katrina Pearson or Jen Psaki, right?
Yeah, Jen Psaki. And then it was Karine Jean-Pierre. Yeah, neither of them.
Let's talk about corporate journalists. There's an organization, I love them. You guys ever hear of freepress.net?
Yep.
They've been around for a long time. Free Press, they call it. Here's their page from 2019 advocating for the total banning of Alex Jones. That's right.
Free Press.
The Free Press called on Facebook to ban Alex Jones. And they said, hate speech is not free speech. These people do not believe in a free press. They are lying to you. The White House Correspondents Association is only angry because their ability to control the narrative has just been ripped away from them. You know how much you want to bet they sold access?
The
You think?
WHCA?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's an oligarchy. That's all it is. It's
Do you have to pay dues? Probably you have to pay
Probably.
dues.
But remember when Twitter was Twitter and verification was only for special people?
Yeah,
And
it
then
was
we
hard
learned
to get verification.
they were selling it under the table.
Yeah.
Yep.
People worked at Twitter would be like, I can get you verified. Just give me 10 grand. And then you slide them the money and then they'd go in the computers and verify you. Because it was.
And it turns
pay to
out it's
play.
really easy, just like snip, snap, snip, snap.
I got verified for the first time on Twitter when I got hired by Vice. And I said, can you guys get me verified? And they went, yep. Made a phone call and said, verify our guy. And they said, you got it. Boom, I was verified.
Well, so the blue check thing on X, or it was Twitter at the time when Elon opened it up and let anybody do it. The reaction that you're seeing from the WHCA right now is exactly the same reaction that these people had when anybody had the ability to buy blue check marks. It's the same thing.
So
It's all status.
you hear from like the Fresh and Fit guys about how having Instagram verification, you could slide into any girl's DM because the verification means you're special. That's what it was for journalists.
Yep.
So if you're an influencer on Instagram and you like drive cars or whatever, you can get verified. But journalists don't really work on Instagram. So all these snot-nosed journalists earned their or I should say that verification badge was a status symbol for them that they used. I guarantee it. I heard stories of these people, like when you're verified, if they had a complaint with a company, they tweet, the company would freak out and be like, whoa, a verified person is
I had that
causing problems.
experience, yeah. I was.
And then Elon took it all away from him.
Yeah.
Took it all away. He said anyone can have it for $5
It's always
or $8. Sorry.
the
Great equalizer.
The $8 meme was great.
Now you have people in their bios now that are people like, I didn't pay for this blue check mark.
Yeah.
They're mad. They don't want to be a part of that. It's so ridiculous.
It's been totally ridiculous. But I mean, it's always been a status symbol and a symbol of, you're one of the cool people. And the fact that was changed really bothered the people that like the status. And on the left, there's a lot of that. The we're one of the good people. We're one of the, we have the correct. I mean, that's the whole point of like political correctness, right? It doesn't matter if you believe it. It's I have the correct opinions. I'm one of the good guys. I'm one of the special people. And that's exactly what goes on in Washington. If you work in D.C., it's I'm special. I work in the government. I have power. It's all this ego stroking that goes on, and it has very little to do with whether or not you're actually valuable, whether or not what your contribution to the government matters or not. That's all irrelevant.
So I really realized this when I was covering the speaker situation when McCarthy was ousted, and I was really pushing for Jim Jordan. I wanted Jim Jordan in there, and
I like Jordan too.
So yeah, I mean, it was like the best option that we had at the time that was like reasonably possible.
Yeah.
And I went there, and I was going around with Jordan, and just documenting the play-by-play. And there was a group, and he was talking to a group of reporters, and this person came up to me and like pulled me back and said, "You're not allowed to be here," and because I wasn't credentialed. And I'm thinking this is somebody that works at the Capitol that is like controlling access. No, it was some random reporter that had the hard press credentials trying to police whether or not I was allowed to be in the area. Yeah. And I was with one of Matt Gaetz' guys at the time. He said, "No, go tell her to go F herself. She can't do anything to you."
I mean, that's something that you see a lot in like in authoritarian kind of communities, and you saw or in situations, and you saw it with COVID, right? Like there were people that were very, very anxious to police the behavior of other people that were not carrying out the proper COVID procedures. They want to be able to use that small little bit of power, that little bit of authority they think they have, and they want to be able to lord it over people. You have these little fiefdoms in DC, and they have this particular area they're the king of, and I'm in charge, and I get to decide this and that. It's all about ego and it's all about inflated ego and abuse is literally being able to abuse people because you're in a position that you think you have authority over.
Yep, and which is actually makes the situation with all these federal employees that are saying, "Oh, it's such a travesty. We're getting fired for cause or whatever." The same people that were saying, "Oh, we should have fired everybody for not taking the COVID vaccine." And so there's a lot of there's a lot of satisfaction in that, Kev. Seeing these same people that were saying that all of us plebs, should have been outed, outcasted from society and such for not taking the vaccine.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people that were very quick to do that.
Yep. And they lost. And Trump won the popular vote and the popular mandate, and his approval rating is the best of his career. And they can cope and they can seethe, and we are now seeing Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, RFK Jr., and it's been fantastic. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.